Hasn't the weather been weird earlier this week? These hot, humid days, and then these thunderstorms and these sudden downpours. I wonder if you watched the lightning or listened to the thunder or been watching the rain rushing down the street like we did. Later we're going to see a video from Tear Fund highlighting the importance of water to people elsewhere in the world. But the weather this week has reminded me of an experience Helen and I and our daughters had a few years ago. We were visiting a desert in California. It's called the Joshua Tree National Park, and it looks like this. Now, this national park's famous for a couple of reasons. Firstly, for the weirdly twisted desert trees called Joshua trees. And secondly, of course, because the rock band U2 named an album after those trees. At the time, it was the fastest selling ever British album. Highly recommended, by the way. As we drove, though, into this hot, arid desert with these weird trees, I remember my phone beeped. And I thought it was a bit odd. I'd got a kind of phone for holiday that was a kind of emergency phone, really. It worked in the States. And not many people had the number. But it was a text message from the US National Park authorities. I didn't even know they could do that. They could message you like that. And it was a flood warning flashing up. A flood warning. We thought, well, we're in the desert. Surely it must be a mistake. It must be for someone else. And we set off on our walk. But then as we did, the clouds started to form and build. And then it began to rain. Rain in the desert. It really was quite an experience. These big drops falling onto the dry sand. Thankfully, there were no floods, but it's an experience I won't forget. For many of us, this time might feel like a bit of a desert. And I don't mean just because we've had some hot weather in August. We long for God to bring an end to this crisis. We cry out rightly for him to end it, to bring, in effect, refreshing rain. Many years ago, David wrote Psalm 63, and he was in an even hotter, drier place, both physically and spiritually. And in that desert, he thirsts for God. He remembers God's love, and he decides to worship him. However dry, however barren things might have seemed. And it's a decision that we can all make, and we need to make. It's a decision to consciously worship God, no matter how dry things seem, no matter what we're going to cry out to him and to call for him to bring refreshing and blessing upon our land. Let's hear Psalm 63. You, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you. In a dry and parched land where there is no water. I've seen you in the sanctuary and beheld your power and glory. Because your love is better than life, my lips will glorify you. I will praise you as long as I live, and in your name I will lift up my hands.